Dear friends, before starting my contribution today, I would like to take a moment to salute the memory of Mr. Marcel Pisani, who was a pioneer and activist in the sector of disability and who passed away this week. I would like to thank you for inviting me to this European Conference of Expert Stakeholders, which is focusing on the important topic of inclusive and dignified workplaces for persons with disability. It is through activities such as this conference that we can, together, continue promoting and working on essential issues of social justice. However, to achieve effective social justice through inclusive communities and societies, we must work in synergy across civil society with community stakeholders and alongside national and transnational authorities. Thus, I encourage you to use this conference to keep exploring opportunities for collaboration between your different organizations and groups. I would like to encourage you also to use your united strength as policymakers, as practitioners, as activists, and as members of civil society to bring greater awareness to the crucial questions of dignified employment, of workplace inclusion, and for the need of persons with disabilities to participate in all sectors. Malta's ongoing presidency of the Council of the European Union provides an excellent platform from which parallel events such as this conference can create a louder voice. In this way, contributions can be made to European policy and the international discourse on issues of employment and disability. I believe that now is the time for us to intensify our efforts to work together to sustain a momentum for positive social change, which shall be felt across our European Union, to ensure a truly and effectively inclusive Europe. It is necessary for citizens of the European Union to inspire one another, as well as collaborate on practical actions. Let me therefore focus my remarks on some reflections about the situation in Malta and how these reflections are an example of good practice and successful collaborative social change. I believe that for many years, the ongoing endeavors of civil society in Malta have brought issues of disability and employment to the forefront of the national agenda. The leadership shown by civil society stakeholders has proved that people with disability, through their diverse abilities, can be powerful contributors to the workforce. The strengthening of the participation of persons with disability in the employment sector is being reflected by a general expansion of the Maltese workforce. According to data from the National Statistics Office in Malta, the numbers of people gainfully occupied, including both full and part-time, increased by 9% last year. The participation of persons with disabilities in this increase is in no small way due to the effective strategies adopted by Maltese authorities, based on the determination shown and the many recommendations posed by our active organizations working with and for persons with disability. For example, it is because of the great success of the supported employment program introduced by the Malta Federation of Persons with Disability that a much-needed review has begun in the way that my country is developing a more inclusive workforce. Thanks to the Malta Association of Supported Employment established by the Malta Federation of Persons with Disability, working hand in hand with our policymakers and national authorities, we have started formulating a systematic response to the inclusion of all persons deemed vulnerable in some way or another within the employment sector. The program, which touched the lives of hundreds of people between 2015 and 2016 in my country, is now reaching an even broader number of individuals through the LEAP agency. Please permit me to say how proud I am of the Malta Federation of Persons with Disability and their collaborators for having such a strong vision for this important project. I am pleased to note that over 400 individuals in Malta have already benefited from the supported employment program. Rest assured that by Malta standards and size, 400 is quite a number. I would like us to remember that when an individual is assisted and supported in their employment, it is in fact entire families and whole communities which reap the final rewards. By responding to the need for productive employment in a dignified and respectful way, these initiatives are proof of our commitment to create a more inclusive society, while also safeguarding the well-being of each and every member of our communities. Allow me at this point to invoke the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, and in particular, Article 27. Article 27 provides us with a powerful mandate that sends a clear and certain message to us and to our authorities. A message that stresses that we have the duty to protect, to support, to nurture, but most of all to celebrate the participation of persons with disability in the economic and social life of our nations. I am pleased to say that the efforts being made to create supported employment in my country are putting into practical force the spirit which is contained in Article 27. Meanwhile, we must continue to acknowledge that we have not as yet reached the full aspirations of persons with disabilities in most of our countries. It is for this reason that I think it is important that we continue to appraise and review as necessary the policies and strategies of our nations. In this context, and in order to stimulate further thought for your deliberations, today, I would like to pose the following questions. How can we work together as members of civil society, as activists, as policymakers, to more fully implement the force of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities across our nations, our European Union, and our world? In what tangible ways can we address the higher rate of unemployment experienced by people with disabilities as part of a holistic approach which takes into account the dignity of the individual within an inclusive society? How can we best tackle discrimination experienced both in the workplace and during the employment process to ensure that effective and appropriate safeguards are best positioned to prevent prejudice? What more can we do to sensitize citizens to the need for respectful, inclusive, and participative workplaces so that they too can become active champions for the change we need throughout our economies? Finally, let me conclude by once again congratulating the Malta Federation of Organizations for Persons with Disability, the Malta Association for Supported Employment, the European Disability Forum, and all other stakeholders for facilitating and for joining up for this important conference. Unfortunately, I cannot be present for the rest of the proceedings of this conference. However, I look forward to learning more about the outcomes of your discussions, while I augur each and every one of you every success now and in the future. Thank you.